Breastfeeding isn't allowed if you're a teen mom. So back in high school, one of my closest friends got pregnant and gave birth to the sweetest baby boy. She stopped going to school for a while to take care of the kid, but still did online school so she could graduate with her class. One thing we would do is go to one of the local food places near the high school on Fridays. And today we decided to go to this nice Chinese place that I'm regular at, and the little old Asian lady knows me by name. This Chinese place has a sticker on the front door that says something like "Breastfeeding will always be allowed," which is great since that's what my friend is more comfortable doing for her baby. After we ordered our food and hung out in this little waiting area when the baby gets all fuzzy, she takes out a little cover and covers her baby and her chest as she starts to feed him. We keep talking until this woman and her son, who had to be around 10, comes in. I recognize the kid as one of the kids I looked after when I used to volunteer at a youth center. He came up to me and starts talking to me and then sees my friend what she's doing with the baby. Before my friend could answer, the boy's mother cuts in. "A disgusting thing what she's doing. Don't you know better than to do that in public? And why are you even doing that if you're only a kid?" My friend has an attitude sometimes, so I try to jump in before she would start to throw things. It's not illegal, and Mrs. L is fine with it. She has a sticker on the door. Mrs. L being the little old Asian lady by the counter who was just toggling the baby a second ago. She smiles at us and continues to write some stuff down. The mother wasn't happy about this and continues with her BS. "I'm sorry, but I'm just not okay with a baby breastfeeding another baby. Can you please just stop?" she says in frustration. Mrs. L finally cuts in and in her broken English she says, "Nursing baby is a beautiful thing. You have problem, you leave." She then taps the order on the window that leads to the kitchen and apologizes to my friend for the woman's nasty behavior. She then looks at the boy who is still next to me and says jokingly, "Your mother, she dummy, right?" This makes the boy laugh and the mother just grumble in her seat trying to stay as far from us as she could. When my friend finished and we grabbed our food, Mrs. L threw in an extra order of eggs rolled since they were my friend's favorite. Everything was fine until Monday came and I saw the boy again. He pulls me off to the side and tells me that his mom said she doesn't like me or my friend. I just ask him if he still likes me and he says yes. Yay! A transgender guy doesn't need to go to the gynecologist, he's just here to spy on girls. Sorry if there is any mistake in the post, English is not my first language. So as usual, I'll be me, EM is entitled mother, and D is her daughter. A little backstory. I am a 19-year-old male. I live with my parents. I was born female but began transitioning 6 years ago. I am on hormone and I have beard and my top surgery. So if people didn't know me before my transition, they don't know I'm a transgender. I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years now. As a transgender male, I still have to go to the gynecologist, and it's really uncomfortable moment for me, but I've been going to the same one for more than a year, and it always went well, until last week. Normally, my boyfriend comes with me, but he had something come up so he couldn't go with me the last week. I could always ask a friend to come with me, but I thought it would be alright. Oh boy, was I wrong. My appointment was at 1. But because I had something to do before that took less time than I expected, I ended up in the waiting room at 12:30. The room was quite full, so I had to sit down to a lady that was waiting there with her daughter. The clinic I go has 2 gynecologists working there, and I had an appointment with one of them, but the lady sitting next to me had an appointment with the other. Since it was a really busy day, some people there had been waiting for quite a long time. The lady I'm sitting next to, entitled Mom, started talking to me. And I quickly realized she was under the assumption that I was waiting there for my girlfriend, or that my girlfriend was already with a doctor. I can totally understand why she made that assumption, and I didn't really want to correct her and have to explain everything. Entitled Mom started to talk to me about how great her daughter is, and to be honest, it wasn't really interesting. But I didn't want to be rude, so I just listened to her rumble about her daughter's academic performance. I was alright until Entitled Ma'am outright asked me when my girlfriend would be there. Here is how the conversation went. "So, your girlfriend should be done soon, no? We've been waiting for her to finish for a long time." I'm not here with a girlfriend. I'm actually waiting to see a doctor too." "What? You're in a wrong place. The doctors here are gynecologists." "I know, and I'm waiting to see one." At this point, I was extremely uncomfortable, because I didn't want to be rude to the lady, but I also didn't want to explain my story to a complete stranger. I could also see that some other people who were waiting were listening to our conversation. You're obviously wrong. This is a doctor for girls only. A freak like you has nothing to do here. You're just here to see girls getting undressed. Please leave me alone. I don't have to explain myself to you. And since I have an appointment, I have the right to be here just like you. Entitled daughter. Gets out of here. I don't want a weirdo like you to be here. It was the first time entitled daughter has talked. And at that point, I decided to get up and to wait standing up rather than to stay next to them. Many people in the waiting room were shooting me weird glances, and I hated it. Entitled mom then got up and walked to me. Entitled mom. You heard my daughter. She's uncomfortable with having you here, so if you don't leave in the next 10 seconds, I'm gonna call security. Before I could answer her, my name was called on the intercom, and I was so revealed. But when I turned around to go in the appointment room, entitled daughter saw the small pin on my backpack. It's a trans pride flag. She must have recognized it, because she catched up with her mother who was following me and told her, Mom, it's not a boy, she's transgender. She sounded really proud of herself, and I was dying inside, walking faster to the appointment room. As soon as I got in front of it, entitled man blocked the door. Yo, did she like teleport, anime, teleport technique? She was behind you, like what? Entitled mom. I won't let a freak like you steal my appointment. Me and my daughter were here before you. Now leave. You have nothing to do here instead of trying to spy on my daughter, you disgusting lesbo. I was really panicking at this point. But just when I was about to leave to avoid bigger confrontation, a girl from the waiting room and her boyfriend came up. They basically told entitled mom that if she didn't leave me alone and go back to the waiting room without causing more trouble, they would call the security on her. She thankfully listened to them, but not without insulting me a few more times before going back to the waiting room. I was so thankful, and the girl and her boyfriend even apologized for not intervening sooner. They told me that they would make sure she wouldn't try to bother me during my appointment. When I told my doctor what had happened, she actually made sure that after today, entitled man wouldn't be a client in her clinic anymore. So this is what happened. Thank you very much for reading. My blind neighbor is a troll to entitled dad. Okay, here's some context. I live next door to an elderly couple. Two really sweet people. The husband, let's call him BE for blind elder, is a blind old man of about 70. His wife, let's call her SG for sweet granny, was sick one day, so I offered to take BE to the store to get some stuff. Entitled dad is ED. I help blind elder into his car after saying goodbye to sweet granny and I drive him to the store. Blind elder always tells jokes about his condition, laughing as though he couldn't care less about the fact that he can't see. When we get to the store, I help him out of the car and inside, allowing him to put a hand on my shoulder so I can be his eyes. We manage to buy what we need and get to the lunch meat since they needed some. Each meat I grab as a sample I hand to blind elder, letting him feel to see if it's a perfect size. While he's feeling the salami, I heard someone clear his throat in a rude way. I turn around and find myself face to face with entitled dad. Entitled dad is an average looking middle-aged man with barely any hair on his head. His kids are two twin boys who are around age 7. Entitled dad starts asking us to hurry up and asks why blind elder is touching the meat that way. I quickly explain that my neighbor is blind, causing the dad to shake his head and say something about him and his kids were in a hurry. Blind elder eventually turns around and hands me the meat he had been feeling. Then the dad gets impatient. Entitled dad. He's probably faking it. He seems way too confident. Blind elder just let out a laugh and had the look of I'm gonna scare him. Then to my amusement, blind elder takes off his sunglasses to show his eyes, causing the dad to back up as my neighbor stumbles towards him with his hands outstretched, yelling about how someone turned off the lights and how the world has been thrown into eternal darkness. The dad and his kids run like scared dogs, causing my neighbor to laugh so loud that he has tears in his eyes. He put his sunglasses back on and we continued shopping. When we got back to the house, blind elder started telling his wife what had happened and how he made a big tough dad pee in his pants in fear. If you have any recommendations on how I can improve my videos, please leave them in comments below. I read and answer every comment. Until the next time, stay awesome!